Hi, this is Steve Sleeper, producer of the North Omaha History Podcast. It's a volunteer effort, but you can help us meet expenses by becoming a patron for as little as $1 a month. Go to patreon.com/Omaha. The list of patrons and the link to Patreon is in the show notes. You can also help by subscribing wherever you listen to podcasts and give us a 5-star review. Thanks.
Welcome to the North Omaha History Podcast with noted author and historian Adam Fletcher Sassy. Each week, Adam takes you on a guided tour through Omaha's dynamic past.
Did you know that North Omaha has been home to 5 higher education institutions in its history? It was 1863 when the town of Saratoga, now located in North O, went to the Nebraska Territorial Legislature and secured a charter for the first ever University of Nebraska. Fortunately, their efforts amounted to nil, but the legacy did not. And it's a rich history and legacy that Adam's going to talk about now.
This dusty cowpoke town right at 24th and Grand Avenue was called Saratoga, and it was started in 1857, but kind of fell through in a couple of years. The town company that started it didn't get it going. But in 1863, there was enough momentum there to do a charge on that territorial legislature right in downtown Omaha, so they really just traveled a couple miles down the road. But they got that charter for the first ever University of Nebraska, Steve. What a neat thing to think that the University of Nebraska could have been right there in North Omaha. Even though that didn't happen, the wheels kept churning. It was just in 1878 when the Creighton family established the first Catholic college in Omaha. 1878 was when Edward Creighton died. Now, Ed, he was a busy guy. He was involved with his brother John. They put in telegraph line all along the UP, the Union Pacific Railroad, from Omaha way west, all the way out to San Francisco eventually, and all points north and south as well. And they hired hundreds of men and put in thousands of miles of telegraph line. No exaggerations, very busy organization that the Creightons ran. But when Edward died young, John realized that he was getting older, and they got into other industries and did other things to build their wealth. But eventually, they were a successful family. They had a large house and all kinds of different fanciness around Omaha, and they really wanted to support their church. When they went to church fathers, they mentioned that they wanted a college. And so when her husband died, even though they were planning before he died, when her husband died, Mary Creighton gave money to the Catholics to start a college in North Omaha, right at 24th and California Street. They built the Creighton College in 1878, and that was really the first ever higher education institute in North Omaha. One of the most successful as well. It continues today with more than, right now, 8,000 students. The Creighton University owns 140 acres along Cumming Street. And there's a College of Arts and Sciences, a College of Business, College of Nursing, College of Dentistry, Medicine, Pharmacy, Health Professions, Law School, and Professional Studies that are just cranking out and doing wonderful work throughout the community and different things. But that was 1878 when that first college really took its teeth. It wasn't much longer when another Catholic school emerged, the Duchesne College of the Sacred Heart. Duchesne opened in 1908 as a college, awarding degrees in a whole bunch of different areas. It was accredited as a junior college in 1937 and got to senior college status in 1939. That college awarded bachelor's degrees all the way till 1968, as well as nursing degrees from 1891 to 1968 as well. The Emmanuel Nursing School was up at 34th and Meredith Avenue in the Monmouth Park neighborhood in North Omaha. They started awarding nursing degrees in 1891 and went until 1974. The Swedish Mission was a teaching facility too, and nurses got degrees there. But that wasn't the only higher education. So we had Creighton, we had Duchesne. In 1891, the Presbyterian Church decided to open up a seminary in downtown Omaha. But it didn't last there long. They needed their own dedicated building that was purpose-built. And so they opened in 1904 they opened up the Omaha Presbyterian Theological Seminary at 21st and Emmett Street. And for more than 50 years, for about 50 years, the Omaha Presbyterian Theological Seminary provided hundreds of degrees in divinity to hundreds of different ministers who went out into the Presbyterian Church and beyond throughout Nebraska, Iowa, South Dakota, North Dakota, and really filled in a gap for that growing congregation denomination at that point. They had different facilities at that location, but the largest, of course, was the seminary building itself, which had classrooms and residential units inside of it. There was also the Vanderburg House where the president of the seminary lived. With more than 100 rooms, it was one of the biggest buildings in North Omaha for its time. In 1942, it closed permanently, and the building was converted into apartments and stayed that way until it burned down in the 1970s. But that was one of the largest higher education facilities in North Omaha for a very long time. One of the purposes that building served, right when it closed in 1942, it became the first ever Grace Bible Institute. Now, they only stayed there for less than a year, but they definitely occupied the building, and they grew quickly just in that 1 year until they moved down to part of the old Brownell Hall School at South 10th Street. Eventually, in the 1970s, Grace moved into the former St. Catherine's Hospital on South 10th, and they stayed there in 2017. Today, Grace University is in Blair, but all the same, their momentum is definitely strong, or was strong, and had a lot to do with higher education in North Omaha for a long time. I would be remiss, though, not to mention maybe the most important higher education institution that was opened in North Omaha. It was 1907 when some of the faculty over at that Presbyterian Theological Seminary decided that they needed to open up a coeducational secular institution, no religious education for both men and women. 1908, North 24th and Pratt Streets, Omaha University was founded. That's right, Steve. The University of Nebraska at Omaha was founded in North Omaha in 1908. For the next 30 years, they graduated more than 2,000 people with bachelor's degrees in all kinds of different areas. Now, they had a couple different facilities downtown and up at 24th and Ames, but the fact of the matter is, the University of Nebraska at Omaha was founded in North Omaha and stayed there through 1937. That year, the Works Progress Administration built the new administration building for UNO out on West Dodge Road after a long bunch of hand-wringing by the colleges, by the university's trustees over where they should build. When they decided on Westo, they moved out of North Omaha. Their building stayed there for a while and eventually was demolished and replaced with a large Omaha Housing Authority tower for senior living. But the fact of the matter is that legacy started in North Omaha. I would be remiss, though, not to mention the longest-standing higher education institution from recent years. And that, of course, was the 1976 foundation of Metro. Metro opened up as Metropolitan Community and Technical College in 1976 at Fort Omaha. Fort Omaha, of course, was built back in the 1870s, and the current buildings being built in 1879, that is. But when the U.S. government gave up the base in the early 1970s, Metro moved in to protect the facility. They moved in, they started up the campus, and they got it going. And today, that gigantic campus right there at 30th and Fort has many new buildings that are built to honor the history of the campus, but they also have the 30 historic buildings, as well as all of the events and countless people who've come through Fort Omaha because of Metro being located there. All of these different higher education institutions have laid a legacy that continue to show on North Omaha's roots, as well as what it grows today. The dozens and dozens of schools that feed into these higher education institutions are only enlivened and enriched because of their presence, and North Omaha is grateful for the legacy of these higher education institutions still today. More work is to be done, but that is a little bit about the past and the work that's already happened. in the history of higher education in North Omaha.
Thanks for listening to the North Omaha History Podcast with noted author and historian Adam Fletcher Sasse. Join us next week as Adam takes you on another guided tour through Omaha's dynamic past.